Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to our sleeping garden in Spokane, Washington. Our hardiness zone here ranges from 5B to 6A. Now if you caught my very first video of 2026 last week, you know that I shared all of the different types of vegetable varieties we're going to grow in this year's garden. It has been very well received, and I've gotten some requests to do the same for the flowers I'm going to grow this year. And you know, I haven't done that for quite a while, so I think it's high time I do. So let's head indoors where it's much more pleasant and get started. So why would you want to grow flowers? Well, for starters, they are just so beautiful. They add so much color to the landscape. They also attract all sorts of beneficial insects, such as pollinators. And since many vegetable crops require pollination in order to produce for you, you want those pollinators in your garden already. You can cut some of the flowers to bring indoors so you can brighten up your home, plus a lot of them have wonderful scents. There's a huge selection of flower seeds available to you, both in your local garden center and from online sources. Garden centers and nurseries only have so much room to grow seedlings that you can buy. So growing them yourself allows you to have a wide variety of plants that you really like. And of course, you can save a lot of money by growing the plants yourselves. It's not hard, and in the coming weeks, I'll give you the information you need in order to be successful at it. Now, just like with last week's video on vegetable varieties, I've got a list of the flower varieties and sources for the seeds for you. So if you go to my website, susansinthegarden.com, you'll notice that there is a guides menu. And if you go down quite a ways, you'll notice there is a link that says Susan's and Bill's Garden 2026. So click on that. And then this is what you saw last week. This is my vegetable chart. It's got the name of the crop, the variety, and sources for the seeds. But if you scroll down to the bottom of that, you'll see that there's also a chart of the flowers I'm going to grow this year. So I've got the name of the flower, the name of the variety, and all sorts of sources for the seeds. So be sure to take advantage of that because it makes it a lot easier for you. Now there's one other thing I should have mentioned that's a great resource for you. On my website, also under the guides menu, is one that says links. And the very first table on this page is a link to seed sources and garden supplies online. So if you see that I've purchased some seeds from Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, there's a link directly to their website, Botanical Interest, the Cook's Garden, and so on. So if you're looking for links to those online sources, that is where they are. And of course, I always recommend that you patronize your local garden center because they need our business. And besides, you save shipping by being able to buy local. So check with them first. Okay, let's look at the flowers I'm going to grow this year. Now, some of them are brand new to me, so I don't have any actual photos of them growing in our garden, and I'm really mindful about using my own photos. So I'll show you the seed packet. But I do have a lot of photos because many of the plants I'm going to grow this year I've grown in past years, and I love them so much I want to put them in the garden again this year. Now, first up is butterfly pea. This is brand new to me. I've never grown it before, but it looks beautiful. And I want to grow it on a special obelisk I have out in our front flower bed. So you'll see photos in the coming months of how well they grow. So here's another one that's new to me. This is Pink Mosaic Cosmos. I have never grown it before, so I don't have any photos, but I do love the color of it and those tubular petals. You know, I've grown a lot of cosmos over the years, and they are just a delight to have in the garden. So I'm very excited about this one. Now, I grew Cosmos rubenza in our garden last year, and the color is absolutely gorgeous. Take a look at this. They are really easy to grow. They're sun-loving, and I'm very excited to grow them again this year because I kept just standing in front of the flower bed and admiring it all season long. Now, I have grown big duck yellow marigolds for the last few years, and I'm really impressed with them. They're super easy to grow, very reliable. They bloom like crazy. They need a minimal amount of care, and that's probably why they are an All-America Selections winner from a few years ago. The interesting thing about marigolds is that they tend to have a little bit of a strong scent to them, kind of pungent. And so I like to grow them next to different kinds of vegetable plants because that scent tends to repel certain types of insects. So you get a double benefit there. I'm growing another type of marigold in the garden this year as well, and that is Mr. Majestic. As you can see by the photo, the flowers are small and kind of striped, and they're just adorable in the garden, and I know that they're doing good things for my plants as well. Now here is a type of Rudbeckia that's called Prairie Sun. Chances are you've seen it in gardens and fallen in love with it just like I have. It has yellow petals that are orange more towards the center of the flower, and then the center part is green. They are just the coolest thing. So they are a Rudbeckia hirta, which is a type of Gloriosa daisy. They are sun lovers, super easy to grow, and I'm hoping to grow quite a few of them because I want to put them just everywhere. I also want to add that Prairie Sun is another All-America Selections winner. I've been growing Sahara Mix Rudbeckias for several years now, and as you can see by all of the photos, they are just breathtaking. They are in wonderful colors, sometimes kind of like fall colors, which looks really cool in a garden. And it's another one that's very easy to grow. You just get it started and stand back. How about growing snapdragons? So here is another All-America Selections winner. It's called Tall Double Shot Orange Bicolor. And isn't that a beautiful flower? So I'm definitely going to include that in the mix this year. I'm hoping that 2026 will be the year of the sunflower in our garden. As you can see by the lineup, I've got quite a few planned. Junior, Gummy Bear, Paint Box Bouquet, which is gorgeous, Florenza, Chocolate Cherry, and Lemon Queen. Now let me explain why I want to plant a lot of sunflowers this year, in addition to making the pollinators and the birds happy. So we have 4 raised beds that are to the south of the main area of our garden. And unfortunately, the trees to the south of those beds have been sending lots of roots into those beds, and they're hogging the water. So as a result, anything we've been planting in those beds in the last few years just struggles. So there is one long bed, it's 4 feet wide by 16 feet long, and I'm hoping to start a whole bunch of sunflowers in it because for some reason they seem to do okay in that bed. So you'll have to stay tuned. I always am giving updates on the garden, and I'll make sure you see how they do this year. But I'm very excited about it. Well, you might not recognize the name Tithonia. That is Mexican sunflower. And chances are you've either seen the orange variety or the yellow variety. Pollinators absolutely love this plant. I grew the yellow version a couple of years ago and they did really well, but I just love how stunning the orange Tithonias are. And so that's what I'm growing this year. And the variety is Fiesta del Sol. This is another All-America Selections winner, so you know it's a good plant. I love watching British gardening programs, especially Gardener's World. And quite a few years ago, I started seeing them growing a plant called Verbena bonariensis. And it has lavender flowers, and they're quite tall. And the nice thing about them is that you can still see plants that are growing behind or next to them just because of the way the plant grows. And I thought, boy, I sure would like to grow that in my garden, but I'd never seen seeds for it before. Well, a few years ago, I received some seeds from the All America Selections winner folks for a variety of Verbena bonariensis called Vanity. And I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And so it does have a couple little special things you need to do for it, but otherwise it grows great. So as you can see by the flower in the photo, that's what Vanity looks like. I've been growing it now for a few years, each year, and I just love it. So they're definitely going in the garden this year. Do you love zinnias? I sure do. They always look so perky and cheerful in the garden. And while I grow the normal ones that are taller, I also like to grow Aztec Sunset because it's a little bit more petite. It has smaller flowers, and look at the colors on these. There's quite a few variations of the colors within each seed packet, so that makes it really cool. And they love a nice sunny spot. The pollinators love them, and oh, I just think they're wonderful. Now, while I'm on the subject of zinnias, yes, I am going to grow some full-sized ones. The two varieties are Oriole Orange and Purple Prince. Now you might be saying, I wonder why she chose those in particular. Well, this summer, Bill and I visited Butchart Gardens in Victoria, British Columbia, and they had a bed of those two planted together. That's what you're looking at in the photo. And when I saw those blended together, I thought, oh my gosh, that is just gorgeous. So I found the seeds at my local garden center, and I'm very excited to grow them. I actually might start quite a few because I want to put them just all over the place. So zinnias are sun lovers, super easy to grow, and they make great cut flowers. So they really have a lot of wonderful attributes. Okay, so that is the lineup for my 2026 garden. And these flowers are going to go all over the landscape. They're not going to be just separated from the veggies. They're going to be mixed in as well. I hope this gave you some ideas for what you want to plant in your garden this year. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. Happy gardening.